10 rounds, 5 different teams have seen the checkered flag in the Rolex Sports Car Series competition. As the championship battle heats up, we'll see if another team is added to the list of winners in round 11 of the Rolex Sports Car Series, the Racetickets.com 250 from Phoenix International Raceway. We take a look at Daytona prototype points, and you'll see that Wayne Taylor and Max Angelelli hold on to the top spot, but Scott Pruitt and Luis Diaz have closed in slightly, now only 19 points back. But the entire top 6 in the championship are close. Only 79 points separate the championship leaders from Kurt Wagner and Stefan Johansson back in 6th. The one thing that's missing, another pace car behind them and a big group of GT cars. As we have said, it's all Daytona prototypes this evening, and they are lined up ready to do battle on board with Milka right now. She'll start back in 19th, so a lot of action sure to take place in front of her. Lined up perfectly, the Pontiac GTO heads to pit lane. The field front straightaway, and the green flag waves. We are racing at Phoenix. Borcheller. Oh no! Contact!
Borcheller just got hit. Car. Big spin, lucky not to get in the wall, but it scatters everybody.
Cars up on the oval. Now they cannot go around and shortcut the course. If they do, they will not be scored on that lap, and that's exactly what's going to happen to those cars running high.
Well, I think they were thinking it was going to be a bigger wreck than it was, and they really didn't have much choice. It'll be interesting to see what the outcome is.
We talked about contact and the officials coming down hard on it. It looks like Mike Borkowski got together with Terry Borcheller there. Let's see if we can see what happens. We've got a replay. Headlights really bright right now, hard to see.
Borcheller, well, he just moves in. He tries to get behind him, no room. It clips the back of him. He was trying to get in front of Diaz and take the second place going down in turn 1, but he was too close.
It looks like perhaps Borcheller got on the brakes a little bit earlier than Mike Borkowski thought he would.
Now look at these cars up here going around. They didn't have any way that they could go. Now what they're supposed to do is what these guys are doing. Come back down here. Instead, they're going all the way around there, and they might get penalized for it. Watch this on board with David Donahue.
Oh, and it's all
now watch that. He can't, well, he gets down off the corner pretty good. He did pretty well. He's far enough back.
These guys told in the drivers' meeting, you've got to come back onto the racetrack. The 66 obviously lost part of its bodywork out there. The nose lays on the racetrack. That is Bob Stallings in the 99. He is one of those cars that went around the banking on 1 and 2. So sure, he was not scored on that first lap. And now Mike Borkowski trying to get past him as they come back onto the banking over there. And there's still no word whether there'll be any type of a penalty for Borkowski and that contact coming into turn 1 at the drop of the green.
Well, precedent's been set in the last couple of races, and I would say there will be a penalty. In the meantime, we've gone full course caution. I'm sure to clean up debris, because what we saw, the wreck with Borkowski, is not the only thing that happened out there. There had to be some nose to tail contact.
Yeah, I think we've got some body work down in turn 1. You look at the back end of the number 54, the Kodak Easy Share of Terry Borcheller. It has gone from a great weekend to a very bad weekend in a hurry. 66 on pit road, Chris.
Brian, down here with the 66 team, Jörg Bergmeister bringing his car to pit lane. They're going to throw a new nose on here. Now, it looked when he was coming down pit lane that left front also looked like it had sustained a little bit of damage, but the team not really doing a whole lot there, just trying to plug in the lights and get this new nose on. So I think we're going to have to pay attention to how this car is handling, because that left front just didn't look right as it was coming down pit lane.
Well, what they'll do is they'll get him back out there while they're on this same lap. The pace car's halfway around, and they might make a second pit stop if they think they've got to do more work.
Hopefully we'll be back to green when we come back to Phoenix International Raceway for the Rolex Sports Car Series. Full course yellow. We know that Borcheller had that damaged car, lost a bunch of downforce. I think he lost more because part of the remaining rear bodywork is right there, Bruce.
Yeah, that's the rest of that piece that they're going to have to replace. Now they don't have to take it off. They sure need to put something back on.
Yeah, he's now got nothing, as they say. I got nothing.
I don't think he's got taillights either, I'm not sure.
Second full course caution. Luis Diaz, the leader, comes to pit road, and Chris Neville will be there.
Brian, we're here as Luis Diaz brings the car into pit lane. Now he had to go around the 02 car just behind him, so he's a little bit slow on his entry. Scott Pruitt getting in this car, but you have to remember, Scott hasn't had very many laps here this weekend. Pit lane's going to get real crowded here in just a minute, so hopefully these guys are going to be able to get out, hopefully before the SunTrust car comes in, which is right in front of them. So already the tires are done, just waiting on the fuel and waiting on Scott to get in the car. The 02 car just behind it also done, and Stefan Johansson pulling out. Lots of action around us. The 19 car right behind us running through, getting out of that car. Tires already in. Michael McDowell now getting strapped in. Also just waiting on fuel in this car.
Synergy Racing car is in. Brian Fissell, having done an amazing first stint there, is now turning it over to his very slightly older brother Bert, and the team are really pumped up here. They knew they could do it. You can see the right side of the car here has been completely rebuilt. They had to take the roof off the car really down to the chassis there. A lot of damage in this car, but it looks like a flawless pit stop at this point. Everything going well. Chris?
Well, the SunTrust car was also in. Wayne Taylor getting out, handing it over to Max, the Axe Angelelli. Real quick stop on these guys, 4 tires and fuel, and he's already back out on the racetrack.
Now is showtime.
We'll see what
Max the Axe can do out here.
61 laps in the book out of 166 scheduled, or 2 hours and 45 minutes. We're still a long way away from making that decision whether it'll be time or laps, but it's going to be a long way for these guys to go in the car. An hour and 40, hour and 39 minutes if they run it on time, or another 105 laps.
Well, you run around here at 58 seconds, okay? The straightaway, the only time you can rest is about 12 seconds of the 58. So it doesn't give you very much time. It's the 58 change.
Brumos entry, it looked like David Donahue was getting out. Calvin?
Routine stop here for the Brumos boys. David Donahue did not have a great opening stint there. He's overtaken by Hurley Haywood, who seems to be really charged up here in Phoenix. Darren Law, again, he's one of these guys, just like Mike McDowell. He had to do double duty here today. A very long and hot GS racing Grand Am Cup action this afternoon. And now he's back in the cockpit once again. Very high cockpit temperatures here. A lot of heat soak on these cars at this stage of the race. Let's go down to Chris.
Calvin down here with the 19 team, Mamo Gidley, who just got out of that car. Great run for you, running second most of that stint, but you looked like you had a good workout.
Yeah, it was a good workout. I just sweat a lot. I feel great. You know, I didn't know which way the tires were going to go, so I just paced myself in the Finley Air Force Reserve car and just wanted to make sure I had the tire at the end. Now I can report to Mike what to do, and I think we're going to be fast.
How hard is he going to be able to push it with the tires?
You can't push it too hard. You really got to change your line, and you really got to be patient, especially on the restart when everybody's got new tires and they're all over you. You got to be patient. You can't slide the car.
Now, if this thing goes green the rest of the way, you guys gonna be able to make it on fuel?
I don't know. I just got in. I'm just wiping the sweat off my forehead, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But I'm prepared to get back in, whatever it takes. Mike will do a great job too, so we'll see what happens.
Things looking good for these Air Force Reserve boys, and they got lots of friends and family here this weekend.
Chris, you just said you can't push the tires and you got to be patient. Those are two things that they have had problems with Michael McDowell this season. The field just now coming through NASCAR turn 4. 77 looks like he's going to come to the pits. That's not a good strategy as we go back to green.
Mistake by these guys, no question about it. I don't know what they were thinking there. Now it's green. They're going to lose a lap more than likely.
Car streaming down into turn 1. The 02 car looked like he's at the front of the serial, but that is not your leader right now. The 01 with Scott Pruitt behind the wheel is shown as your leader, battling through the infield. 77 is on pit road, Chris.
Guys, no idea why they've come in. Obviously, the team really working hard to get Matteo Bobby behind the wheel in this car. They've already got the tires done, just waiting on the fuel, but really no idea why they brought him in at this point in time, because I can't imagine they're going to be able to get fuel in the car and get him out before the leaders come back by.
Yeah, the leader is just now coming out of the hairpin back onto the oval portion here. Now the 77 is down and away, so he will get back on track, but
he's got cold tires, and he hasn't been around the racetrack yet. These guys are storming down.
Yeah, they are up to speed. I don't understand that. It had to be a mistake on the part of the 77 crew that bring him in at that point in time. I also have a hard time believing that any of these guys will be able to make it on fuel. Look at this.
This is not good. Going into turn two abreast, about 5 rows deep. Not a lot of room for this kind of shenanigans.
No, but amazingly enough, at least to this point in time, everybody has made it through. And a couple of slower cars in there on board with Andy Wallace. He seems to be a little off the pace right now, Dorsey. Cars streaming by.
You're right. He's way off the pace. Everybody getting by him. I don't know what the problem is with Andy's car, but about 5 cars got by right there. You know Andy's not going to get that up that easily.
You just saw Bert Frizzell go by. Now another car go by. That's the number 3 Southern entry. Calvin, what's up with the 2?
Well, you said he's off the pace. The team believes he may have a puncher. They're trying to get Andy to evaluate the car. They're at the ready here. Crew's on the wall, and this is going to be devastating to them. They want to get back in the hunt today.
The whole highway just passed them. Everybody from Los Angeles to Phoenix just went by.
And bad luck continues for the boys down at Crawford. Andy Wallace definitely on the pace, but he just drove by, pit in.
Well, they said they wanted him to. Oh, he spin down at 1. Oh, and contact.
That's the Frizzells, the number 8 car. Definitely saw him go around and saw some parts flying off that car. Couldn't tell who else was involved, but you see a prototype up in the corner going back onto the road course. Remember, you cannot go around the oval, shortcut the course. 3rd caution. This is going to play into the hands of cars like the 4 and the 6, and we've got a car on fire.
And that is burning badly. Driver out.
That's the 99.
And no fire truck there. They better get there in a hurry. This one's fully engulfed.
That is down in turns 3 and 4. We've seen some problems in the past. I can't tell if that car was involved in the incident down there in 1 and 2, but you see Alex Gurney beating his fist on the wall right there. He's watching the car burn. There's nothing that he can do. And much like the number 10 car in Mid-Ohio, Dorsey, that fire looked like it was fueled.
I totally agree. A car will not go up in flames that volatilely without having a big fuel source, and the best fuel source back there is fire.
Let's take a look at the first incident, the one that happened down in 1 and 2. You see there's the 09 car, and then the battle back here. That's the 8 of Bert Frizzell. Gets together with the 66.
But now watch, see who hits him. Right there. That's not one of the cars that burned,
that's the number 3 Southern entry.
So that
hits
had nothing to do with these 2 fires.
No, Shane Lewis in the car right there. So that has nothing to do with it. You're right. On board the 58, Darren Law behind the wheel. There's the incident in 1. He sneaks through on the inside.
And of course, we know that we're going to have 2 fires around up here. Wow,
Look,
Gurney's really
that car fully engulfed. There was fire in the cockpit, it looked like.
A lot of fire in the cockpit. He scrambles out, but there was no question that it was all around him.
Man, that is scary. Even scarier than Wayne Taylor's fire.
And look how long it takes before that car's completely engulfed. Not even, I don't think that was 15 seconds, 10 seconds.
Their damaged 99 car. A lot of work to do for that team. There's a look at your leaderboard. We'll be back. The lights off on the Pontiac GTO pace car. He will head to pit lane. The field NASCAR 4, and we are back to green flag racing at Phoenix. It's these restarts that have caused some of the action as you look as the car stream down into turn 1. Oh, and there's the 01.
It is Scott Pruitt who's got into the wall, backed into the wall. That's championship implications. He has hurt the back of the car. The wing is dented and bent. That is not good.
Now running side by side with Christian Fittipaldi. He wants to make up the ground that he lost. Definite bodywork damage on the back of that 01 machine. Did not see what caused it down there, but doesn't really matter what caused it. Pruitt, big contact with the inside wall, and I can't believe that rear bodywork is going to stay on.
No, it won't stay on, and the wing is bent, and when he gets up to speed and it gets a lot of download on that wing, it's going to collapse.
Let's see if we can look at a replay and find out what happened down in 1. Here we go. Michael McDowell to the inside.
And he's going to make contact with Pruitt on the quarter panel and spin him. Oh, and he hit the wall.
Almost hit the wall.
McDowell,
I think he missed
again, put the car in a position where there was no room. He not only got Pruitt, but he hit the wall too.
Well, that will be interesting. Scott Pruitt dives to the apron, heads for pit road. He is going to have repairs done. You see the rear wing askew in addition to the rear bodywork. That was a big hit, Dorsey, bigger than I thought in the beginning, and that is not an easy section to repair. And don't forget, that rear wing attached to the gearbox, so the 0-1 rolls to a stop. Chris is there.
The Comp US boys getting over the wall, trying to take apart the rear end of this car. Scott Pruitt shuts it down. Lots of work that's going to have to go on here. This is definitely huge in the championship, guys. These guys did not want this, and you have to wonder with Michael McDowell, that situation, the officials have said numerous times in the past couple weeks that if he has contact again, they might pull him out for the rest of the season. So are they going to give him a penalty of a minute or 5 minutes, or is he done? So the Ganassi boys right now just trying to take apart the rear end of this car. This is going to be a long stop for these guys.
Michael McDowell continues to circulate around the racetrack. We understand there will be a penalty. We just don't know what it will be right now. Chris, when you look at the back end of the 0-1 car, do you see any gearbox damage? Because that wing is attached down in there.
Yeah, trying to take a look in there right now, and doesn't look like any real gearbox damage, but just the frame that holds that tail on and the wing. Lots of damage there, so these guys, they've got a lot of work on their hands. They're going to go down quite a few laps here, guys.
Well, we understand the word is a 1-minute penalty for the 19, and I got to say, I'm going to go on record for this one. I don't get that. I don't get it at all.
I'm totally shocked at a 1-minute penalty. I thought it would be much more severe. He's been on kind of double secret probation for over-aggressive driving, putting the car in a position where it doesn't need to be, and there was no better example than that one right there.
I know that's going to ruffle some people's feathers. I like Michael McDowell. He's a good kid. But the 1-minute penalty for that one, I just don't think it's harsh enough. Let's take another look.
Take a look. He goes inside of Pruitt right here as they go toward turn 2. It tightens up. You look right there. There's no room for 2 cars to be there. It would have been so easy to check up. Scott Pruitt probably didn't know he was there. And even take that all aside. Even though you're a young man, you're very, very good, but you're on probation for being too aggressive. Why put it there?
That was a low-risk move. Well, Michael McDowell has been in the hot seat with the Grand Am officials.
You know, being in a hot seat for me is not a place that I want to be at the time. It's good coverage, and Speed Channel talks about it a lot, but, you know, I don't really think that it's necessarily completely all true. You know, I go for the passes when the opportunity is available, and these guys race hard, and it's full out. Even though it's a 3 hours race, everybody's driving hard. You know, they're at the top of their game, and for me, you know, if there's an opportunity, I go for it. And similar to Max Angelelli last year, where he was kind of considered the bad boy of the series because he was aggressive, he went for it, he made passes happen that people didn't think could happen. And, you know, I got caught out a few times, and it's from a lack of patience, and it's something that, you know, I've gone back with the team, I've gone back with Mamo Gidley and Rob Finley and Steve Cameron. They sat me down and said, you know, this is what we need, this is what we need you to do. You don't have to take chances. You're proven. You know that you're fast. Everybody knows that you're fast. You don't have to go out there and do it. And, you know, for me, that's a relief because I do have that pressure that, you know, I'm a young guy in the series. I want to stay in the series, and I want to be considered one of the best guys in the series, so I go for it. And now that I kind of established myself a little bit more, it's more bringing it home and trying to be consistent and just bring the car back as clean as possible. So we'll see what happens. Don't look for me to not go for it, but I'm going to be a little bit more patient.
Well, I don't understand that. And over an hour to go in this race, 80 laps to go in this race. He says he's going to go for it, but Dorsey, that was bare. His front tire wasn't even with the rear tire of Pruitt's car.
And there's a pattern here. I would ask Michael to think about this. How many races have you won so far?
Good point. Full course caution flies again at Phoenix International Raceway in the Rolex Sports Car Series. Pontiac pace car will go out and pick up the field. You see debris on the front straightaway. They'll get things cleaned up. We'll come back to more Rolex Sports Car Series action from Phoenix International Raceway. Back at Phoenix, the Pontiac GTO pace car heads for pit lane once again. We will restart yet again at Phoenix International Raceway. The number 4, Butch Leitzinger, leads the field across the line. Down into that very busy turn 1 and 2 complex, Dorsey. This is where it all seems to go wrong.
And I almost saw it go wrong again there with the 77 car. Almost got pinched into the wall as well. Max Angelelli, Max Ax now on the charge trying to catch up with Butch Leitzinger. This thing's all messed up. Nobody knows. Even the drivers aren't sure what's going on, I'm sure.
Leitzinger continues to lead, and for Fabrizio Golan and Matteo Bobbi sit second in the 77. That's great for them after the mistake that they made on the pit stops during the full course caution. Not the last one, but the one just before it. This caution worked in their favor. They run second. Angelelli runs third. Then Oswaldo Negre in fourth. Stefan Johansson in fifth. Christian Fittipaldi in sixth. Calvin, what do you have on the 77?
Hey, Brian, actually it's me, and
sorry,
I just wanted to fill you in on that 77. I don't know if that was so much of a mistake there. They just really wanted to pull him in as late as possible in that caution. They knew that they only had to put a little bit of fuel in that car because they're getting such good gas mileage. I asked him after that pit stop, did they get all the fuel in the car, because they weren't hooked up for very long. Kevin Doran said, yeah, we got all the fuel in. We're getting awesome mileage here. So I think those guys, they planned that one, and I think it's going in their favor right now.
Boy, oh boy, Brian, these lap cars are really playing havoc. Leader getting away for sure.
See the 54 go by. A lot of body work on that car. That's good for them. They've got their downforce back. What is bad for them, they are some 4 laps in a rear. Look at the traffic into the hairpin.
Ozzy just went like 5 lanes over to get inside in the 6 car.
Yeah, Negre up to third the last time by. What a move after being down a lap because of that early penalty. We saw the problems with the 0-1 car. Seems like Chris has caught up with Scott Pruitt.
Guys, Scott Pruitt now out of the 0-1. Scott, what happened out there?
McDowell just, you know what, he's getting run into a lot of cars this year. He's a rookie, making a lot of rookie mistakes. We're coming off a yellow. It was tight down in there. I had actually gave the guys in front of me a little room.
We've got an incident out on the racetrack. We'll jump to that real quick. It was the 77 of Matteo Bobbi involved, but I think it all started right there with the 54. Smoke out the back.
And it could have been oil. I'm not sure, Brian, if it was oil or not. A lot of smoke went up as they turned down into turn 1, and then it all just broke loose. Cars kind of hitting everywhere. We'll have to look and see what's gone on with that, but definitely the 54 went up in smoke as it entered the turn 1.
And look at the damage to the 77. What had been such a great run for these guys. Turns out they had excellent strategy. That Ford, good mileage, good power, good torque, but it has all gone bad. Full course caution yet again to clean up the mess down in turn 1. And now the benefactor of that is going to be the 6 car. Oswaldo Negre will move to second. Michael Shank, though, not happy with the officials. Some conversation going on down there. They're telling the 6 to come in.
Why are they telling the 6 to come in?
It's just the report that we hear.
They think you're a part of that? They think you're a part of it.
They think they're a part of that.
And they're talking about parking the car.
Chris, what is going on?
Well, I haven't seen any video, guys, but right now the officials are telling Mike Shank that they were part of that incident and that they're thinking about having him park that car. Mike Shank is saying, hey, we were nowhere near it.
Well, the 54 car was smoking heavily down the front straightaway before he ever got to turn 1.
They got the wrong yellow car, boys.
Let's check in with Calvin Fish.
The 54 car is in a lot of damage to the left side there. Kevin Durant was down here, who managed the 77 car. There was a big confrontation here with Ralph Kennelers behind the wheel and Kevin behind the pit wall. He is very unhappy. The 77 car came down pit lane and essentially gave them a hand gesture, which you don't want to see here in pit lane. So tempers are flaring here in the final stages of this race.
Let's take a look at the video, see what we can see. A lot of work being done to the 77. Let's see what happens.
The yellow car is the 54.
That's Shane Lewis in the 3 gets together. In the banking, they make contact. That's where the smoke comes from. Oswaldo Negre down on the inside, he has nothing to do with this. Problems. He goes, no, he has nothing to do with it.
Absolutely does not have anything to do with it. The 54 car, the damage done back in turn 3.
The battle was between Shane Lewis in the 3 and Kelleners in the 54. They got together back in the banking on board with Andy Wallace. See it all go wrong. Negre with an aggressive move on the 77 car, got by and was by cleanly when it all went bad. Here's Matteo Bobbi. He got out of the 77 car. He is running back down pit road, Chris.
That's right, guys. We're behind Matteo Bobbi right now. He's headed towards the 54 car right now, so obviously very, very unhappy with the driving going on out there.
Well, and I don't know where Matteo's going.
He's coming down the 54, boys, and they're going to try and stop him. Matteo is very angry. He's coming down. He wants to have a word with Kellners, and he is fired up.
Well, these boys need to watch what's happened on television. Obviously, when you're driving, you got a tunnel view of what you get to see.
Terry Borcheller's had a long night. He doesn't need any more of this. You saw the contact up in turn 3 and 4. Here we go, different angle.
There was nothing wrong. The 6 did nothing wrong whatsoever. The 54 had been slammed into by Shane Lewis's car up there on top of the.
And I didn't see any contact between the 77 and the 54 until they both went off in turn 1. Well, a lot going on. You wanted action. This is the Rolex Sports Car Series. Plenty of action from Phoenix International Raceway. We'll see if we can get it sorted out. Back at Phoenix, Oswaldo Negre really beginning to pressure Butch Leitzinger.
Got a better run off the gear so he can make a run up the inside. And I think he will make it.
Leitzinger turns. Oh, contact! All right, the 6 car. Now this time he did make contact. We saw it, but what will the officials deem that? Is it a racing incident? We've seen him make that call tonight. We've seen him make other calls to bring cars to pit road and park them for a minute. What will it be this time, Dorsey? What was it?
I think it's a racing incident. I mean, you went in there deep in the brake zone. It wasn't much of a hit either, but it doesn't take much when you're going up on that bank and the car under power doesn't have much grip to begin with. It wasn't, you know, it didn't drill him.
Tough call here. It's one that is not our place to make. The 4 car is back underway. Let's check in down at the Crawford camp.
Katie had the lead. What did Butch say on the radio? It looks like he got took out.
He said the number 6 car took him out at the hairpin.
How is the car? He's done a lap now. He's managed to get a feel for it. Is the car okay?
The car was fine. As far as I know, it's fine. He's right back up to a 59.04. So the car seems to be okay, but I mean, this is ridiculous, you know? This is what they told him not to do in the drivers' meetings.
Exactly. There's been a lot of conversation about this type of action on the racetrack. Let's go down to Chris.
Calvin down here with Mike Shank. Mike, sad to say this is the second time we've been talking tonight, but what's the word from Oz right now?
It's all good, man. We're under him. I haven't seen it. I'll reserve comment. It's hard racing. I told you if we get our lap back, we're going to be tough. It's a tribute to my guys. I tell you, that car was a pile of rubble 8 days ago after Mid-Ohio. Everyone saw that video. Now it's out leading this race. It's a real tribute to the staff, engineers, and mechanics on my team.
Well, it's a shame that it's coming down to this, but there's an official over here, and I'm sure he's waiting for the word from the tower.
You know, I'm not going there, Dorsey. Call it, bud.
Well, you know, up on the inside, going into the apex, and there's contact. I mean, he definitely clipped Butch in the left rear quarter, and around he goes.
Who's got position? I mean, where do you draw the line?
Well, unfortunately, I think Butch was further ahead of the thing. He didn't hit him in the door. He hit him in the quarter panel, or all the way back by the wings. I mean, you're going to point a finger for blame, or the blame definitely goes to the 6. But how far do you want to push it?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Oswaldo Negre continues to lead, at least for now. Max Angelelli sitting behind all of that, watching, but one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, actually the fastest car on the racetrack right now, is the number 66 with Christian Fittipaldi behind the wheel. You see Angelelli flashing his lights at a slower car. That's the 59 with J.C. France behind the wheel right now. Fittipaldi right on the back of Angelelli. And you got to believe Angelelli somewhat content to sit there and collect the points, knowing that the 0-1 is out. Here's another look.
Well, here's a good run, like I said, gets in there, but watch, he's not to the door. He actually, you know what? In his defense, he tried to turn right and not hit that car, but it hit.
It'd be interesting to get Butch Leitzinger's point of view on that. Obviously, we can't.
Oh, yes, you can.
Well, we won't right now. We could get it after the race, but we'll have to see what the officials have to say about that. Meanwhile, Oswaldo Negre continues to lead, then Max Angelelli, Christian Fittipaldi, Stefan Johansson, and Butch Leitzinger. We'll be back to Phoenix. Trust me, it's not boring here. Stay with us. Christian Fittipaldi now leads here at Phoenix in the Rolex Sports Car Series. Oswaldo Negre, the Mears Motor Coach entry, comes to pit road to serve his penalty.
And when he got the call on the radio, he simply quit. He just let Christian go. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Michael Shank parks this car right now and just says, all right, as a protest, we're not going to run it. It wouldn't surprise me.
Chris?
Well, Oswaldo Negri has brought the Mears Motor Coach into pit lane for this minute penalty. Now, Mike Shank and Mike Borkowski have spent quite a bit of time discussing this penalty with the officials. Their argument mainly is they think that that first incident really wasn't fair for them to get the penalty, so please just give this one to us, but obviously it didn't come their way, guys. Cal?
Well, the 66 car now has the lead, and they've had to recover here tonight. Remember, York Bergmeister got involved in that first lap turn problem. And Kevin Buckler, what a weekend for you. You won the GT race last night. You have the lead right now.
Really up and down. I mean, my God, last night was fantastic, but we've been saying all weekend we can win this race in the DP class. And, you know, just a roller coaster. This race has been incredible with all the stuff going on. Really a bummer about the 67 fire. Christian's in the lead of the race. Those guys, the guys did a great job. This is fantastic, really fantastic.
A lot of emotion down here in this camp, looking for that first win. They had a win with the 67, but they haven't had one yet with the 66 squad.
Less than 20 minutes to go. Oswaldo Negri goes back on track, and for Tracy Crone and Kevin Buckler there at Crone TRG Racing, a win for the 66 would be huge. The 67 has done it already this year, but they have had their problems tonight. The 66 now looks poised for its victory. Don't forget Tracy Crone, his home offices for his company down in Metairie, Louisiana, had to move his entire corporate office and all of his employees out, get them out of harm's way down in Louisiana, relocate them to Houston to try to protect not only his business, but more importantly, his people. And that is why Tracy is not here this weekend. He wants to focus on making sure that all of his people are right. He said there are more important things for me to do this weekend than to drive a race car.
Oh, I can see steam coming out of the number 4. He's going to be a little aggravated about getting spun too. Butch Leitzinger doing his very best. Statistically speaking, that 66 car has been the best in the series, just led most race laps, never to win yet. The 19 giving Butch a fit right here.
Yeah, you've got Stefan Johans and then Butch Leitzinger and then Michael McDowell. We've already seen McDowell with his problems tonight, so he needs to be careful as he tries to do battle with these guys. But meanwhile, Fittipaldi continues to lead, and then Max Angelelli looks to me like he has become content with second place in points, knowing that the 0-1 is out.
Yellow flag out there, that last corner. I don't see any incident for that. This has been a barn burn. It's a wild race. I don't know what, I don't even know what to think's going to happen next.
Christian Fittipaldi, the fastest car on the racetrack that lap by some 0.8 of a second. So he is really laying down the lap times right now, not slowing down at all. Angelelli drops off the pace just a little bit, but still quicker than those 3 cars following him.
Butch happened to look right there, not enough to get inside.
Remember, Leitzinger has been in that 4 car for a long time, Dorsey. He's got to be tired.
Good point. He's had those tires on longer than everyone else has too, so he's got more miles on it. You know, you can't keep these guys from racing, and you have to try to make passes any place you can. Problem is, if you're in a situation, if you just simply bump someone and they spin, then you can't race.
Stefan Johansson and Butch Leitzinger doing battle. Michael McDowell is 1 position down in 5th, but he is a lap down. Mike Borkowski and Oswaldo Negri a lap down also, but Negri right on the back of McDowell. That is for a position. McDowell on Butch Leitzinger is not, because there's a whole lap that separates them.
Well, a lot of people out there driving angry tonight.
Let's check in on the 4 with Calvin.
Well, as you mentioned, Butch Leitzinger has now been in the car a long time, just over 2 hours. I just spoke to his dad, Bob. He said no problems. Butch says he feels fine. It's really cooled down here in the evening air here at Phoenix, so the conditions are a lot better for these drivers than we expected in the heat of the day. And also the tires are in pretty good shape. Remember, those guys only have about 5 more laps on all the other leaders who pitted a little bit later, so they felt confident the tires were going to be in good shape. They're just really upset about that incident with the 6 car that have taken away their chance of victory, it looks like. Chris?
Cal, right now the 0-2 looking for their best finish since Mont-Tremblant back in April. Right now Stefan Johansson's reporting back to the team that the car's pushing pretty badly. They're thinking that they've got some aerodynamic pieces on the front of the car missing from all the contact tonight. So they're just telling Stefan, hey, just stick with it. He's got a lot of pressure on him from the 4 and the 19 right now, but just trying to keep it up here in these closing laps.
Leitzinger, the high road around Johansson makes it look almost easy. Can he hold it into one? Yes.
He's the first guy to be brave enough to try the high line.
Awesome move by Leitzinger. He's tired, his tires are worn out, but still makes the move around the high side. We'll be back to more action from Phoenix. Christian Fittipaldi continues to lead, and he's continuing to lay down those good lap times out there. We'll see if he can hold on for the next 6 laps. We've had a lot of action out there. We always bring you the move of the race. Well, we got it for you tonight. Check this out.
Mateo Bobby wanting to do some moving his own. And that worker right there, the Grand American official who keeps the fight from happening, that's the move of the race.
That's the Mobil 1 move of the race. Terry Borcheller, you said it, a man of tremendous faith, but you know what? He's also in pretty good shape. I'm not sure I'd want to go up against him. You saw him standing there, and he had not had a good night to that point in time.
That's what I was about to say.
He wasn't in a good mood anyway. These guys will certainly be in a good mood if they can hold on with just 5 more to go. Calvin?
Well, they've come so close, Jörg Bergmeister. Less than 5 minutes to go. You've had 4 podiums this year. Looking for that elusive victory. You have to feel good right now.
Yeah, of course. So far it's looking really good, especially after the beginning where contact was waning and we had to come in the very first yellow. And I thought the race is already over, but the guys did awesome pit stops, and they did a really good job. And yeah, I want to say already say thank you to Tracy Crone, who can't be here unfortunately, to all the trouble with the storm. And I hope he will be back for the next race.
The driver's confidence is so important. Have you been able to carry the momentum over from the other series in ALMS where you've had 2 GT victories? You have to feel good as a driver right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Actually, I'm over here in the States now for 4 weeks, so no time zone change for me, and it's pretty nice to stay over here. So maybe next year I try to stay more often over in the States.
You'll stay a lot longer if you can make it 3 victories in a month, Brian.
He's going to stay and drink champagne is what he's going to do, Calvin.
Now this car is a car where the driver is hearing everything go wrong because it's been jinxed all year. In that car you're hearing little creaks and groans, and you miss a gear every once in a while and you think, oh, my transmission is breaking down. These guys have been snake bit, yet they've led the most laps. It's been the most dominant car out there, but finally it looks like, and I don't want to jinx them, but it looks like they're finally going to get it right.
And remember the problems at Watkins Glen in the 6 hour in the rain. They led. Christian led late in the going, but used up his rain tires. They eventually finished second to the 67. As you look at the DP points, the way they stack up right now, remember the problem for the 01? There it is, 36-point gap. It was 19 when we came to Phoenix. If it finishes like this, it will be 36. They will finish 16th.
And they were lucky, actually, that the car count was a little bit down coming out here to the West Coast like it was.
Angelelli continues to motor around. Let's check in with the SunTrust boys. Chris?
Wayne, as crazy as things have been here tonight, right now it looks like you guys are possibly going to finish second. A second-place finish here would probably feel like a win.
Yeah, I think it would be. You know, especially that the 01 cars was unfortunate, but you know, the one thing, there's a lot of contact in this race, but I don't think our car connected with anybody, so it was a good clean race for us, and you know, that's the only way you can finish these races when you're looking for championships. So Max is doing an outstanding job as usual.
Well, these guys had a lot of work on that car back at Mid-Ohio after that qualifying fire, so I'm sure a clean car is something the crew wants to see tonight.
Wonder if they still have that Christmas tree air freshener in there trying to make the smoke smell go away.
They said they had to replace quite a few things when they got back, so those guys didn't really, you know, they've been working hard still. Hey, this is on the same lap, and I'm sorry, no, it's not the same lap, but Retribution maybe?
Negre trying to work his way back up. Does he go past him or not? Well, why wouldn't he? Butch Leitzinger knows that he's a lap down, and Butch is not going to throw away. He is not the kind of guy. Look at that. Pulled way wide of the apex. Said, go ahead, buddy. I don't care. The white flag just flew on Christian Fittipaldi, and Butch Leitzinger, much too much of a professional to get involved in any of that. They've got a podium finish right there. He's not going to throw that away for a little bump with Negre to show his displeasure. Now the white flag flies on Butch Leitzinger. If he can hold on, they will finish on the podium. If it finishes this way, it will be a all Pontiac podium. So good news for the boys at Pontiac, although 2 victims of fires tonight for those Pontiac powered cars. So good podium for them, but a problem as well. Look at Christian Fittipaldi flashing the lights as he comes through the banking, wanting to let everybody know that he's on his way. Also probably celebrating a little bit inside that cockpit. Victory at hand. The checkered flag flies. Christian Fittipaldi, the number 66. Jörg Bergmeister, Christian Fittipaldi, the first win for the number 66 Krone Racing TRG boys.
Got the door open. He's over there on NASCAR turn 1, where there's a lot of people in the grandstand, I should say. I don't know if he's going to give a show.
Oh, yeah, the big burnout there on the oval in turn 1 and 2. Christian Fittipaldi stopping for the fans down there.
The traction control off last time is what's happened. Now
he turns it off. Now the big smoky burnout. Some excitement from the crew. Got to apologize for a little bit of language there, but these guys are happy. Celebration all around. Mike Johnson, Kevin Buckler celebrating the boys at Krone TRG. We saw plenty of action here tonight, and there are those who look at statistics and performance, and they have thought, and you would certainly have thought, that we would have seen this result long, long ago, Calvin.
Indeed, they've been knocking on the door, but tonight Jörg Bergmeister and Christian Fittipaldi make it happen. Christian, somewhat unexpected after the first lap, but you guys recovered well. Superb run tonight.
Well, definitely someone unexpected, because Jörg, unfortunately, in the incident, he couldn't avoid, and he lost the front nose. And I knew it was really tough for us to pass here, but there was still a lot of racing to come. Jörg went back to the pack. When I hopped in, I think we were P4 or 5. He did an excellent job bringing it back to P5. And then obviously I had to do the rest one. So this one is first of all for Tracy and all the New Orleans people, for the team, for Jörg, and for my wife that couldn't make it, and her little dog Borg that is at home.
They're very happy indeed. Let's go over to Chris.
Cal over here with Max Angelelli. Max, what a run for you guys. You guys have so much momentum right now. This second place really pads you guys in this championship. But how tough was it for you to really pull the reins back, focus on the championship, not try and challenge for the win?
It was really difficult. Honestly, I didn't enjoy the race at all. It was so difficult to get away, and then soon you pay a little bit attention, which is unusual for me because I don't care very much. Everybody just overtake me, so I keep losing position. It's difficult. It's difficult.
Well, tough second place for Max Angelelli to swallow, but maybe when he gets that championship trophy, he'll think back on it being a pretty smart decision.
Absolutely. You look at Daytona prototype points. The win finally for the 66 boys. And Kevin Buckler has said that they are going to donate all of their prize money to the Red Cross, the relief effort. A great motion by the boys at Krone TRG. Looking through the rest of the field there, what you're missing is the 01. There it is, back in 16th. That is really putting a world of hurt on Luis Diaz and Scott Pruitt in their championship run. Also the 67 car with the fire that they had. Take a look at Daytona prototype points the way they are now. We'll see 36 points.
Unbelievable. For the 66 car on that team, a night to remember. For all the rest, a night to forget.
Yeah, you get 35 points for a win, so Diaz and Pruitt more than one victory behind everybody else. The SunTrust Improve Your Position Award goes to Andy Wallace and Milka Duna in the number 2 from 19th to a 9th place finish. Let's check back down with Calvin Fish.
Well, another podium finish tonight for EFR and Butch Leitzinger, but Butch, so close to a victory. Talk about the bump with Negri out there.
I think I'd rather not, actually. That's a lie. I would like to talk about it, but I probably shouldn't. I guess I can't get too snotty about it because I think they took out quite a few other people in the race too, and you know, so some other people probably could have won as well. I better just leave it at that. Thank you, Calvin.
All right, thanks, Butch. A great drive by Butch, nonetheless. Almost 3 victories in a month. Didn't quite make it happen tonight, but a lot of contact out there, Brian.
Well, Leitzinger, always such a gentleman. When he holds his speech like that, you know there's some thoughts that he's using his head not to let him out. Next round, Watkins Glen. That's when the Rolex Sports Car Series will come at you next. Dorsey?
I want to go to that one, buddy. That's the long course. This is going to be a war down there after this weekend.
Oh, yeah. There are those races you want to remember, others you want to forget. A lot of the guys here tonight would like to forget this one. For Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, Chris Neville, I'm Brian Till. It was an exciting one here from Phoenix. Make sure you join us from Watkins Glen. Always excitement in the Rolex Sports Car Series.